hard to imagine how many literature you used to find all this information.
Every bit of information that you can cross-reference and prove up.
So I already detected this one as unique. Hello everybody, this is WarStory video blog. I am Alex and here is James Lin. Hello James.
Hey Alex.
We are here for showing you, is it correct to say we are here for showing you something?
It works.
Yeah,
we
it
understand.
Works. Yes. but comment it. Is it correct or not? Anyway, we want to show you this sword because this one is incredible piece. This one is very early and one-of-a-kind sword and a very historical piece. All these paperworks and all this information about this particular sword. So could you share this information with us? Because I want to buy this sword. I really enjoy it and thank you for opportunity to buy it, you know.
My pleasure.
Yeah, because it's pretty hard to find that unique item. And with that documentation, yeah?
Documentation is perfect.
Yeah. And could you share this information with us and could you tell us about all symbols on this sword?
Absolutely. There's two big reasons that make this sword special. One is that it has on one side all the officers of the regiment that's presenting them the sword, and on the other side it has all the battles he was in the Franco-Prussian War of 1870-71. So, and it has the Iron Cross here. It's unusual and hard to find a sword with all the names of the officers on the regiment, but then it's almost impossible to find one with all the names of the officers on one side and then all the battles that the owner of the sword participated in during the war. So,
and it's pretty unusual when you see battles on the sword, on the blade, because before that I'm not sure I've seen that before. Only last names.
Well, once in a while you will find a sword with some battles on the back sword. Here's a sword presented to so-and-so, an officer, and then on the back it will have some battles. But to get all the combo together is just extremely rare.
And for me, without any research, this sword was kind of unique because when I first time saw it and you was not here, so I already detected this one as unique because we can see here battles, we can see here last names, we can see here early period because most of swords like that has been given in 1880s, 1890s, or in border of 19th and 20th century. And actually here we can see a word, Iron Cross, second class on the blade also. So it's like triple unique on the blade. It's beautiful, gilded, blued and Damascus, and actually it's like 3/4 of work on the blade. So it's without research, but with research, it's incredible.
Let's talk for a minute about the construction of the sword.
Yeah, sure.
The construction of the sword is one that doesn't show up very much. It just, here's the unusual bands on the scabbard, and here is a printout of from the book by Gerd Mayer, who shows, yes, this was one of the types that they did have in this time period. You always like to have it. Oh, yes, here it is, and here's the information in the back where he describes it, and he has a list of a number of swords he has seen, and I think it goes from A through A, B, C, D, E, so
Yeah.
5 or so. And in the bottom, it has one of the makers as A. Verth, and here it is, A. Verth on the back. Every bit of information that you can cross-reference and prove up and
Sure.
is the better.
And I want, I want to tell our subscribers how important is it, because sometimes if somebody found beautiful blade, he want to restore it, and he could put it on the later hilt. So it will be not correct, and it will be still valuable thing, but it will be like not correct restored. Here we can see that it's everything is correct here.
Very good point.
Yeah.
You're saying, here it is. The thing that I like so much about this sword is it has so much information. You don't have to try to identify who the recipient was. It says his name right here, to Major Heinrich Hubsch.
Yeah.
We know who he is. It gives the dates 1871 through 1888. So we know that the sword was given in, is that correct, 1888? My eyes aren't great, but we know the sword then was given in 1888. So the 1871 through 88 would indicate that that is his service time in this regiment.
Yeah.
And this regiment is Dragoon Regiment number 15. Let's, in a second, I'll describe how that came about. Well, we can actually talk about it now. He was 1871, the war ended.
Yeah.
What happened was he was in the Baden Dragoon Regiment, number 3, going into the Franco-Prussian War. After the war was over, the Baden regiments were taken over by the, essentially by the Prussia, and they were consolidated all together. And he could have, and they became Baden Dragoon regiments 19, 21, and 22. But one of the things that the Prussia did was they would take some of the officers from the Baden regiment and transfer them to Prussian regiments, and they would take some of the Prussian officers and transfer them to the Baden regiments because they wanted it to be completely integrated. They didn't want to have Baden officers and Baden regiments that could go off and do something on the other. They wanted to commingle it, and after, although his whole career had been with the Baden regiment, now he was transferred to the Dragoon Regiment 15, and he stayed the whole time there from 71 through 88. So we have this showing this style, and all the swords that Imperial German Damascus presentation are that we collect are works of art. So we don't have to say that repeatedly, but the reason you collect them, they're works of art, and then you want as good a condition as you can possibly get, and the blade is just minty here.
Yes.
There's some the scabbard. There's some wear on the scabbard. There's some wear on the grip, but it's the blade, which is the part of it that you really love. You can accept some condition issue because of who he was and the incredible blade. Now, the other huge part of this is what the guy did, and you want him to have participated in the war, and you wanted him to have done as much as possible. And this one is a home run because he was awarded the highest bravery medal that Baden could issue, which was the Karl Friedrich Military Merit Order.
And we can see it here. This is.
And there were a total of, we looked it up a minute ago, it's 182
Yeah, for 2 years, it was
total
182 awards by this.
in the
Yeah.
Franco-Prussian War. So the chances of finding a sword to a Baden officer that fought in the Franco-Prussian War, good luck. There's
Yeah.
only 182 of them. How many were ever issued or awarded or given?
Yeah.
And then how many of them survived? So good
it's
luck.
like, wow,
There's
it's
only
jackpot.
182 possibilities. So here is his career in orders. He received the Iron Cross Second Class. He received from the War of 1870. He received the Karl Friedrich Order. He received the Baden Order of the Ring and Lion. He received the Prussian Red Eagle Order, and a long service decoration, and it doesn't get much better than that. If you can ever get a sword where the person received one of the top 5 German military orders, then you're in. What can be better than that?
Yeah.
And so when you read the history of this regiment that he was in, they refer to it as Squadron Hübsch. And so it's great to get the unit history. Here it is, a description of what this regiment did during the war, and you've got the sword. You're reading about him. Squadron Hübsch, Squadron Hübsch, Squadron Hübsch. But the way we can determine his medals is there's a book called the Deutsche Orden Almanac, and it came out one came out in 1908, and you find the orders up to there, and then you go to the rank list, and it gives the orders there, so we know exactly what he got, and it shows exactly that he received. Of course, the one you really want to find there is the Karl Friedrich Order.
It's hard to imagine how many literature you use to find all this information, how many knowledge you have to use for it, because it's like years of researching and years of studying in this.
I love it, and I love it. Thank you. You're correct. But the thing that's amazing to me is because of the internet today, I was able to find a Baden book from Baden books from the 1870s and before, which are you couldn't get them in the old days before the internet, but now you can find, in this particular case, you could find the Baden regimental books pre 1870. So you have those, then you have the unit history, and here's a bunch of printouts for you.
Okay.
Here's what I was referring to: Squadron Hübsch in a certain city, or village, and here's another one, and here's another one. So you have a lot of things that you can go home and go through and read exactly what a squadron did. I turned to this one in particular because in Baden history of the regiments during the war, the biggest battle they were in for the Badeners.
They lost 10% of their
exactly. It's called Neuitz St. George, and there were about 10,000 in the Badener army, and they lost about 1,000, had 1,000 casualties in this one action. And his squadron was leading attacks at that action.
Yeah.
So incredible.
And for explain normal people how this information valuable for this sword, we just can't imagine how many historical, huge historical battles this sword related. And if you have this sword, you just relate it with this battle or this historical period. And if you saw this video, if you see this video, you also relate it.
Okay, on this map, the Bodners were part of this army, and under Werder was the commander, and they defended this area around its south, east of France, which is near Baden. So it all makes sense. But this is the area they were garrisoned or stationed in, and the area they had to defend. Well, that's where the battle occurred. Here's Belfort, which is a very famous battle, and here is where Nuits is in relationship. And so it's really, really fun to study this area, see this area, where it's at, and the importance of it. And then you've learned a bunch of information, and then you go back to the sword. Now that you've studied and you learned about what the battles were and what they did, then you go back and you pick it up and you think, wow, it's kind of magical that I'm holding a sword to this squadron leader, a Rittmeister, that led an attack in this battle that was so important to Baden.
Yeah, that's true. It's incredible.
The last bit of information is the name Heinrich Hübsch. When you just type it into Google, Heinrich Hübsch comes up, but it turns out that Heinrich Hübsch is a Bodner who is one of the most famous architects of the Grand Duchy of Baden. And you think, well, that's interesting. It's the same name.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that this famous architect, and he shows the different buildings he built, like the Trinkhalle in Baden-Baden, which is the spa and so forth. Well, he built it. Here's a monument to him. How many people get a monument built after them?
Yeah.
So he was very famous. He was the architect for Baden, and it turns out that was his uncle. This guy's uncle is this famous architect. Today there's a school named in his honor in Baden for building / architecture, and they give out the Heinrich Hübsch Prize for architecture.
Yeah.
And then his father was the postmaster. Here's a photo of him, postmaster for the Grand Duchy of Baden. So here's the two brothers. He was well connected. And here's even a picture of his wife. And here's a copy of when they got married, so you know where they're all from. You can locate that town. You've really, really covered this guy from a lot of different angles.
And all his background.
It makes him a human. Here's his wife.
That's very interesting. That's really cool.
On his marriage certificate, which is right here, it tells where he was born, the date of birth. You have it in other places, but here is a document, a copy of this marriage certificate that reaffirms it. The more times you can cross-check things, the better. And so with this pile of stuff, you think, I know this guy pretty well, and you feel like he's almost a friend, or some kind of, you have some kind of relationship with him, and you go over and you hold the sword and you say, you see the video, or read the history, and it has Squadron Hübsch attacked the train station. Okay, you read it, and then you go over, and I don't know if you, I go over and I said, and he held this in his hand, and it kind of gives you a little electricity. You think, a thrill.
It's a special kind of feeling. I'm really excited every time when I see something like that, when I see that historical piece, and with relations with this famous period, and with a piece, you can guess location on the map, in that time, in that period.
Absolutely.
So that's cool. And my work is, I have to come to the show, I have to pick the best items here, and then offer it to customers who believe me, who believe in my, how to say
expertise.
Expertise, yes. And so I really love it, and I know a couple guys already asked me about this sword. I'm not sure won't I sell it immediately because I really want to keep it because that's really cool. And thank you for opportunity to buy it because most of items like this, most of items of that level, it's like underground
Yeah.
deals under table. You know, the people usually don't bring it to the shows. I bought many deals like that.
Well,
But
I
anyway,
brought it
this
for
one-
you. We talked before,
Yeah.
and
So-
it is an under the table deal, and
Okay.
it's never been out before. And
But
so,
anyway, we discuss it here on the show, so
well,
yeah,
so
yes, we put it on the table after the deal.
Yeah.
Yes, and thank you for your research.
my pleasure.
Thank you.
It's always-
Safe trip home, safe flight. I know you have flight and
Yep. What time is it?
yeah, now it's 4:04.
Oh my
so
God.
you have to hurry up. Oh, and I have.
Well, edit the hell
you.
out of it.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Have a great night.
Thank you, you too. Oh, and I received some more items. Let's open it. What do we have here? There is a second model Luftwaffe. Looks like regular one, but this one is in good patina with silver plating. Next one is DLV / Luftwaffe dagger, and this one is incredible condition for this type. I will show it to you closer later when I get home. And the last one is also a nice piece. I already shown you the place where I bought it, but this one is really cool. Fireman official dagger with fireman with axis, and looks like that's incredible. Decorated, I just love it. And this one gilded version, and a few years ago I bought version in white metal. But anyway, this one is more rare, and I will show it to you closer when I get home, and when I will show you all items I bought here on the Max Show 2022. Now, I want to say you goodbye. Thank you for watching this video until the end. See you real soon.